All right, everyone, time for your dystopian daily news, I suppose. That should be like a show name, I guess. At this point, it'd be too close to reality. Apparently, there's a case out of Baltimore recently where, they're doing digital courses, digital classwork in most schools right now because of paranoia about coronavirus, which mainly kills elderly people. I guess the teachers are afraid they'll get infected more than that the students will get infected because the younger don't have a problem usually. They're doing digital courses. And little Jimmy, or whatever his name is, linked in the description, archived, of course. Always use archive.today. Always sponsor archival sites. Fuck the legacy media. He had a BB gun on the wall behind him, along with, like, a little bow and some Nerf stuff. It's just like, he's a young kid. Young kids, slingshots and BB guns and blow darts and stuff like that are cool. The weapons are cool. By the way, people in Baltimore, you need to understand, but guns are cool, actually. They're not a bad thing, they're a good thing. BB guns are pretty cool, too. Not as cool as a 22, not as cool as a 55 caliber sniper rifle or something like that, but it's a good entry-level model. You don't want to give a kid, like, here, take the high-gauge shotgun or something like that, and it fucking blows his head off. Has the BB gun on the wall. The school made the odd claim that him having a BB gun on the wall is perfectly acceptable for someone under 18 to own a BB gun, by the way. They can't buy it in the store. You need ID to purchase it. A parent can give a child a BB gun. There is no specific age restriction. It's not licensed the same way as an actual firearm because it's gas-powered. The school made the enormously funny claim that him appearing in a digital class, because it was behind him visible in screen, I guess, that him having a BB gun visibly on the wall behind him equated to him bringing it to school. Worse, the police followed through on the call. This makes them, in my mind, more culpable than the fucking teacher. The fucking teacher that had a big problem with it is like, okay, well, you're fucked up, you're a dumbass, but the police actually followed through on it. They actually went and searched the property to find out if there was a weapons violation. Any reasonable person looking at these weapons on the wall would say, a bunch of Nerf guns and fucking a little compound bow, probably made of plastic and stuff. Is that a real gun or is it a BB gun? I wonder which. Who would have given a fucking shit if it were a real gun? I suppose there are storage and container laws within the draconian state of Maryland and certainly the far-left moron city of Baltimore. They found no code violations, so now the mother is suing the school. Good for her, and may she have a successful GoFundMe to raise funds to do this. The idea that you can possibly violate some school code by simply having your normal surroundings around you when you're being compelled, the taxpayers are having to fund this fucking school, even though the kids aren't even able to go to the fucking school, not getting their school lunch at the moment, so to speak. I would think that this raises budgetary issues as well, but we'll get past that for the moment. The idea that little Jimmy should have to move his entire bedroom around to appease some fucker at the school is total bullshit. What they should do, now that there's no violation or anything like that, what the kids should do is they should buy 5 or 6 more BB guns and have a whole rack along the back wall and then have like a Rage Against the Machine poster and weird shit like that or something. That's just a suggestion, and a not serious one, of course. I'm not actually suggesting trolling the school. I'm not suggesting that other students there in solidarity should, start buying BB guns and mounting them on the wall before their digital courses. Kids are very good at activism, by the way, very good at disobeying their parents and also teachers, because teachers fucking suck, usually. And this is case in point. This teacher sucks. Should be fired for this, actually, for making the complaint. The cops involved should be fired, because there was no reasonable cause for them to go and search the property. No reasonable individual looking at this gun with its obvious bright orange tip would think that it was a real weapon. The scale alone should tell you that it's not an actual licensed firearm, dude. You should have taken, what they should have done is they should have said, okay, let me see a screenshot of that. Oh no, that's a BB gun. You don't have any storage laws with regards to BB guns. There's no licensing restrictions on that. He can own 10 of them if he wants to. Have a whole pyramid of containers of BBs on the wall. He should have a big-ass Trump poster, actually, maybe. Trump 2020, just an enormous banner. Better yet, you should have an Ouroboros flag behind you. That'd really flummox them. But, I mean, restraint applies. Baltimore's nuts. And they've got weird weapons laws anyway. Maryland is one of the worst. Aren't they one of the states that tried to literally confiscate people's shit? and I guess no one complied, and that's sort of, what is it, dead in the water, like it's not really enforced. Like, you're not supposed to have magazines over a certain size, but nobody turned them in. It's sort of like what happened in New Zealand. They were supposed to have a big-ass buyback, too, for like hundreds of thousands of weapons, and they got like a few hundred, I think. Yes, believe it or not, people don't like tyranny. They like to be left alone to their own devices if they are doing nothing wrong. And you make them pissed off when you act dystopian like this. This is literal nonsense. Again, for the cops to have been called in the first place is bad, but for the cops not to have recognized the situation for what it was and to have actually even investigated, number two, is fucking nuts. By the way, did they even have a warrant to search? Or was it like they're like under certain laws now, it's like, well, we don't need a warrant because you got probable causes, like a crime is going to be committed. Is your son's a school shooter because of his BB gun? Fire these fuckers. Let's have a little bit of accountability. The police in the inner city choke somebody, it's national news. The police clearly overstepped their authority here. I guess nobody cares about it. They're too busy watching the riots. I mean, that's nuts. Come on, dude. It's a fucking BB gun. I have one. BB guns are fun. It's great. It's also cheap. Like, it's way cheaper than, playing around with a quote-unquote real gun. And keep in mind, of course, safety still applies. You're not supposed to shoot your friends with a BB gun, although some of these dumbasses do. This kid probably has more trigger discipline than his local police, considering how fucking incompetent they are. Yeah. This sort of thing pisses me off. The Second Amendment is ironclad. By the way, yeah, it does technically apply in some roundabout respects to people under the age of 18, I suppose. Liberals wanted to be able to vote at 16. That means, for some reason, people who are between 18 and 21 can't fully exercise their Second Amendment rights, and so far nobody has actually successfully sued over that. It's very interesting. What if we were to say, oh, well, you got to be 21 to use your full freedom of assembly. You have to get a special license to go to the rally. I think that people would probably be pissed off and the ACLU would sue. I don't see them suing over this, though, because they decided that guns are scary and bad. They used Charlottesville as an excuse to abandon the Second Amendment, essentially. So they don't really care about civil liberties anymore. Not unless it has to do with virtue signaling. Fuck Baltimore and their police and their educational institutions. That's about all. Peace out.